Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for FPL content here on YouTube. It's game week 37, it's time to be thinking about our teams, selecting our teams, and our final ranks are just about ready to be set in stone. But luckily, I've got a little chip up my sleeve, as you'll see by the title. It's bench boost time. Hopefully I can use that to kick on the rankings a little bit. First of all, we are going to look at my team in game week 36, how I've got on so far, and what I'm sort of hoping for the rest of this game week. But before we show you that, thank you so much for all of the new subscribers and new support and views and everything. It's been so awesome. It seems to be going really well here on YouTube. But if you are new around here, please do consider subscribing. I'm aiming to get 1,000 subscribers at some point within the next couple of weeks. I think it's possible the way things are going here. They really have been going so great. So thank you for all your continued support, and yeah, keep it going. I absolutely love it. So let's have a look at my team, how I've been getting on so far this game week. Not too bad, I don't think. Not too bad at all. So it's 24 points, which you would say isn't a great score, but the benefit I have here is I don't have that many players who have actually played. I've got 6 players to play still. If you count KDB, obviously he didn't play. So assuming Dominic Calvert-Lewin starts, he's going to be playing against Aston Villa. There is a chance that he gets some points there, just because Aston Villa have slipped defensively a little bit as of late. I'm not sure whether that's because they're trying to push a little bit harder in attack to try and get some points on the board or what. They do still have plenty to play for, Everton do not, but I think there could potentially be some points there indeed. But other than that, I mean, I guess I could be disappointed, but it's been a disappointing game week for everyone. So for that reason, I don't feel like I'm too far behind. I have taken a small green arrow, which I hope can become a bit of a larger green arrow and possibly even push towards 100k by the end of this game week. But yeah, there are some points on the board. Doherty, unfortunately, didn't start, but he did come on and he did get an assist. That was pretty good. Pope had his clean sheet wiped with the help of Doherty. He was on for 9 points, so that's a little bit disappointing there. But 3 points, I mean, it's not the end of the world in terms of goalkeepers. I don't think many goalkeepers got many points at all this week, so far anyway. So I'm not going to be too upset by that. Mahrez, I always want to keep in my team. He is just on the 1 point. He only played sort of not even half a game, so hopefully he plays the next one at least. We can say that from this. And then Jesus, he got 8 points. He got a goal and 2 bonus points when he could have had more. That penalty that was disallowed, obviously Jesus won. I don't know if he'd then go on to take it as well. So that could have been even more points there. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But 8 points on a captain seems pretty darn high, to be honest. Considering some of the other captains, but like Salah only got he only got his 2 points, didn't he? Who else got not many points? Salah, no, said Salah. So there was Sterling, got 1 point because he only played 45 minutes. And obviously Kevin De Bruyne hasn't even played. He was another popular captain choice. And then Pulisic, who was a hugely popular captain choice amongst the top end of players, he got 6 points. So 8 points seems pretty good, actually. I think the people who are really going to benefit are those who have captained those Manchester United guys, because they do still have a chance of picking up some points. Maybe if people have captained Danny Ings. But I have all those players anyway to play. I feel like the players I've got left to play are pretty big hitters. Danny Ings you would expect to hit big. Martial Fernandes, the same thing. Wan-Bissaka, always a chance of a clean sheet. So it's looking pretty good. Trent Alexander-Arnold, on the other hand, really, really disappointed for a defensive point of view. Liverpool seem to have sort of gone on holiday defensively. They've completely switched off. It really is not looking good for Liverpool defenders. But I did watch the game, and Trent did look like he was going to create a lot of chances. He was putting plenty of crosses in, the usual stuff. So his attacking potential does seem to be very much there. So I'm not too worried about him. I'm not going to make a defensive transfer of that kind. Just to take Trent Alexander-Arnold out, it doesn't really seem necessary. So, not much to say about my team so far. Slightly above average, small green arrow, but plenty of players to play. I think the average amount of players to play left is something like 4, and I've got 6. So, from that perspective, it's looking actually not too bad at all. So, with that said, let's move on to my team selection for this coming week. So, the bench boost is active. It really is well and truly active, and I've been waiting for this a little bit, but I do have some problems to address. But let's go through my team first. So Pope in goal against Norwich, that seems like possibly the most guaranteed clean sheet you could ever see. Norwich have scored just 1 goal in the 7 games since the return. That's really is nothing, and they're not really offering much attacking threat at all. And that was before before they got relegated, when they actually had something to play for. So now they have nothing to play for. They didn't have much attacking threat before. You know, I can't see them getting any goals. I mean, it seems to be one of the most nailed-on clean sheets of the entire season, and with Pope there in goal, the absolute world-beater goalkeeper. What a class player he is. So very happy to own Pope. Maybe you can get a couple of saves, but you know, Norwich offers so little going forward that you might not even get that. But Pope always loves a bonus point. Could happen. Something could happen there. Moving on into events, and I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold still. His ownership does seem to be dropping a little bit, but I just don't see why you would take out a defender at this point. He's got Chelsea. Chelsea have at times been very inconsistent at the back, conceding a lot of goals. So I do expect there to be some attacking threat from Trent, although I'm not massively expecting a clean sheet there. You know, like I said, Arsenal proved that Liverpool have switched off defensively a little bit, but maybe there'll be a bit of reaction there. We never know. But Chelsea still have so much to play for, so it could go either way. But in terms of clean sheets, but for a more assist potential, I'm pretty confident with Trent. As always, why wouldn't you be? Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's been good, but he has been dropping off a little bit recently. He's got a couple of yellow cards, which hasn't massively impressed me, but you know, he's still creating the odd chance. Not so many chances as he was perhaps a few games before. Against West Ham, that could all change. West Ham has sort of been average in the league defensively, so there could be goals in that still for the Man U guys, and I don't know if Wan-Bissaka is potentially going to offer us some assists. He's not been bad so far since the break, so yeah, again, still confident with him. Doherty against Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace have been rubbish going in defence, but Wolves haven't been particularly good in attack. Doherty has sort of, with his assist and him not starting, he makes me think he is going to start next game, and he's capable of getting assists. He's sort of a nice reminder of what he is capable points wise. So if you start in the game and if he potentially gets an assist against a rubbish Crystal Palace defence, then you know, he's one of the main men at Wolves, so there could be some points there. I'm pretty confident about that, so happy again there. So I mean, there's a bit of a theme here. Pretty happy with my team. I think I've got it in a good place, to be honest. Into midfield, Bruno Fernandes, the man, the myth, the legend, against West Ham at home. You know, you've got to think there's going to be big points, and I think he's going to be possibly one of the most popular captain picks for this week, that's for sure. So very happy to own him, and I've got to think about captaining him, to be honest. But I won't go on too much about him. We all know what he is. He's the talisman of Manchester United. He was scoring so many goals. They've got so much to play for. They're going full strength all the way, fully at it every single game. So a really, really useful team to be investing. 3 players in, and the third, of course, is my man Martial. Playing really well up front, scoring some really nice goals. He's really come into his own a little bit over the since the break. I mean, he had not a bad season before that, but now he's got all of this creativity around him. He's looking absolutely class, and he's creating a little bit of magic himself as well. So, a really, really good player to own. I think Martial is probably one of the most desirable players in fantasy right now, and if you do have some of the other guys, Greenwood, Rashford, I've said this for a while, I do prefer Martial to all of them. So yeah, against West Ham, again, it's looking good, isn't it, really? You'd expect a few goals there against West Ham, but we'll see what happens, particularly if West Ham do beat Watford on Friday evening. That's going to mean that they are pretty much safe. They might start to switch off a little bit. There might be a couple of mistakes, and you'd expect the Manchester United guys to capitalise on that as they go gung-ho once again. And then to complete the midfield, we've got 3 more players. We've got 2 Manchester City guys. We've got KDB, a mainstay throughout the team. He's never going out my team, really, is he? He's just one of those players you've got to buy and keep. Just keep him in there, let him keep ticking along. Although I do think he is slightly less desirable than he has been in the past. He's been playing a little bit deeper. He's not getting as many assists as you might hope for, to be honest. Even though he is creating some chances, there seems to be a much more of a spread of the chances created and the goals throughout the squad, particularly if David Silva's playing. That seems to make KDB play a bit deeper, create less chances, have less set pieces to take. So like I say, KDB not as desirable as he was before, so I wouldn't be looking to captain him really, probably for the rest of the season, to be honest. And then finally Mahrez. underperforming pretty much every single game. He always looks like he has goals and assists in him. I'd be hesitant about taking him out because you know that there is just going to be one of these games, whether it's game week 37, whether it's game week 38, he's going to have a big score in him at some point. He's got to, surely, sort of a 10-pointer, a 15-pointer. He's got plenty of them before, so he can do it again if he starts. And he seems to be one of the first names on the team sheet. Most games for Manchester City, so that is good as well. And then finally we've got Antonio up against Manchester United, so possibly the team, the man to wipe out the clean sheet from Wan-Bissaka is Antonio, but his form is just so good. You've just got to go form over fixture. Even before his 4 goals that he scored the other week, every game he was taking so many shots, getting in such good positions inside the box. Really, really good chances, and getting some good scores even before that. He did have a blank against Burnley, but even in that game, it was only because Pope is the saviour once more, and no one can seem to get a haul against Pope right now. So against Manchester United, I guess they have shown some defensive fragilities against Southampton particularly, and they conceded 2 goals against Bournemouth as well, which was a little bit disappointing for my Wan-Bissaka ownership. So I do think there is potentially goals there, and I'm very happy to cover both sides, because if a goal is coming for West Ham against Manchester United, you do expect that to be Antonio, just because it's all about Antonio up front for West Ham. So we'll see what happens there, but there's no chance that Antonio gets a bench, even though I'm bench boosting this week anyway. So still confident in Antonio. Moving up front, and I've got Gabby Jesus, who has just been, it just seems to be a stroke of genius since he came in. As soon as he got that first goal, I can't remember who it was against now, the game after Southampton, he scored that goal, and I thought, okay, he's got his goal, he's going to start banging them in now, and he absolutely has. He's scored in 3 consecutive games now, been starting every game as well, so he seems to be such an important player to Pep Guardiola. Pep clearly does not want to play the false 9 anymore, which means a true 9, Gabby Jesus, is going to be starting every game, and hopefully getting some goals every game. So another player I'm super happy to own. I think he's one of the more essential players outside of Manchester United, perhaps, to own right now. Probably the most desirable player in Man City, other than maybe Sterling. I still think I prefer Jesus, just because he's got those starts every single game. So that's awesome. That's an awesome player to own. And Watford away, Watford conceding quite a few goals. I spoke about in not last week, the week before, I spoke about how Watford have become sort of whipping boys, conceding a lot of goals and a lot of chances. I do think they have strengthened slightly since then, when I was looking at the statistics, but it's nothing that Manchester City can't handle, especially if they put out a stronger squad, which they didn't against Bournemouth, unfortunately, which I think did impact them. KDB is just such an important factor in that team. So if KDB is playing, that's going to bring up all of the Manchester City's players' value in that particular game. So hopefully KDB starts. Hopefully, the good players, Sterling, Bernardo Silva, the good guys start, and Jesus can get plenty of chances there as well. And then finally, Danny Ings against Bournemouth. Bournemouth, I mean, they're showing some resilience, aren't they? But they're pretty much down and out now, you would say, surely. I'm not sure. I suppose it depends what happens in the rest of this game week. But yeah, Bournemouth have been showing some resilience. They've been getting some goals. So yeah, there is some concern there. But it's Danny Ings. He's chasing the Golden Boot. He could get it. He might not ever get this opportunity to win the Golden Boot again. And he's like playing like an absolute machine, like covering every single square of the opposition half. Wants to get on the ball. Wants to score goals. So yeah, he's a quality player to own right now, and it's no surprise that so many of us transferred Danny Ings, even though we did transfer him in for Jimenez, which I guess is slightly disappointed because Jimenez seems to be scoring goals out of nowhere, despite statistically not really looking very good. So, but Danny Ings, I think he's still going to outscore Jimenez over these last few games, but by a considerable amount, I would hope so. Happy to own him, happy to start him up front. Now let's look at my bench. The more important bench than usual because we're on a bench boost. So I've got Alex McCarthy against Bournemouth. I did say that Bournemouth are scoring a few goals and creating a few chances recently, but yeah, I don't know. Southampton have not a lot to play for, but on paper, that looks really quite good, doesn't it? So if Southampton can keep a clean sheet, and I'm praying they can, then I mean that's obviously awesome for us McCarthy owners. So it is a good week to have McCarthy on your bench if you're using a bench boost. There have been worse weeks for McCarthy over the last over the last few games, hasn't there? So this could be a pretty good one. Next up on my bench is John Egan. Everton looking massively deflated going forward. They have nothing really to play for anymore. Sheffield United have had a second wind after the break. They started off very poorly in defence. Now they've got all their players back together. They seem to be that awesome, solid defensive unit that we know and we became used to them being before the break. So Egan has been smashing it, scored a couple of goals. Not going to necessarily expect another goal from Egan, but it would be nice. He seems to be a target man for those set pieces, so you never know. So yeah, he's another player who I am not that comfortable just leaving on my bench, and he's proven a couple of times already that he's not a guy you want to leave on your bench. So let's keep him there on the bench boost. So Lascelles, obviously he's injured. He had ankle surgery, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, so he's going to be out for, I think, like 6 to 8 weeks. So he's looking at potentially not even starting next season. We'll see how that goes. Good, best wishes to him. Obviously, we wish him the best as Newcastle's captain. You want him to be back, don't you? Especially if you're a Newcastle fan. But he's not going to be able to play for my fantasy team, unfortunately. And then finally, Dominic Calvert-Lewin against Sheffield United. Again, I mean, I'm not really expecting much from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's the kind of player who you just pick up your 2 points from each week and move on. That's unfortunately the player he's become, especially against a team like Sheffield United defending so well with so much to play for. Everton, nothing. So, I mean, really, what I wanted to do here with my transfers was to move out Dominic Calvert-Lewin for either Jay Rodriguez or Chris Wood, just so I have a good striker on that bench. But unfortunately, it looks like that might not be the best move. I think if I'm playing my bench boost, I want to have 4 bench players playing. That's spreading the odds the best. That's giving me the best opportunity to pick up a potential random haul, which you can get, especially from defenders. So I think the easy move here is to stay with the Burnley theme. They've got the best fixture. Like I said, Norwich only scoring 1 goal since the break. 7 games. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? So we need to go Burnley defence, don't we? We need to double up on that Burnley defence. And I've got 2 options within my budget there. It's really either Long, Kevin Long, that is, or I can go for Eric Peters. Now the benefit of Eric Peters is that he's playing actually in midfield. He might actually have to play in left back though, however, since Charlie Taylor was unfortunately injured. So it might be Eric Peters is no longer going to be playing in midfield and actually going to be playing back in defence, which is not really what I want if I'm going to be bringing in Eric Peters. Kevin Long, which seems really random, and to be honest, it seems like the most boring transfer in the entire world. I like him because Norwich are so bad at defending set pieces. We saw against West Ham in particular, Antonio was just smashing shots in from the set pieces because it was easy. It was easy. Norwich has just been so bad from defending set pieces. So we're going to be wanting a player who can get on the end of those headers to score set pieces, which is why I was looking at Chris Wood, to be honest. But that's obviously not going to happen. I'd rather have a full 4 players on my bench playing, starting, going for it. So that's what we're going to be doing, I think. The shout is Kevin Long. He's going to be getting on the end of some headers. Burnley love taking set pieces. Norwich hate conceding set pieces. Is it a match made in heaven? Obviously, Long's going to be playing because Ben Mee is unfortunately injured. So so Long is going to be sitting alongside Tarkowski in that centre defence positions. And you know what? Even if he doesn't get a goal, there could be some bonus points. A defensive Burnley team, if they're keeping a clean sheet, the defenders will often pick up some of the bonus points, and Pope will take a lion's share of those bonus points as well. So I think there's a lot of potential there. I think with Kevin Long, I'm pretty much guaranteed the 6 points, possibly 1 bonus point for a clean sheet. And then after that, you never know. I really do feel like there could be a set piece goal, header, from a corner, from a free kick, from something like that, or even from a cross or something like that. So I think that's the right move. So that's the move I'm going to be making this week on my bench boost. And I think this is going to be a nice little boost up the ranks, isn't it? My first team is pretty good. It's pretty solid. The bench are all playing players. couple of which have really, really nice fixtures as well. So overall, I think I'm on for a good one in Game Week 37. I think Game Week 37 is going to be the week I comfortably break into the top 100k with a really nice score. So yeah, if in terms of captaincy, my current thinking is Martial with the captaincy. The only reason for that is West Ham and Watford defensively, there doesn't really seem to be much in it at the moment looking at stats. So it's really a case of who am I most confident will get, well, 1, game time, and 2, opportunities to score. So Martial being the central striker in a Manchester United team going for it all the way to the wire seems like the more obvious choice than going for maybe a Jesus or a Mahrez, who, you know, a City side that don't have as much to play for. They're trying to rest and rotate. They're probably going to be going through the FA Cup final. They've got the Champions League then to be thinking about. Premier League isn't really a priority, as they're pretty much they're safe in the Champions League spots now anyway. So they have priorities elsewhere. And Jesus or Mahrez, they're sort of, even if they do play, it's 60 minutes per match. Whereas Martial, in the crunch time, pushing for the top 4, you'd think that Martial is going to be getting probably, if not all of the minutes, the vast majority of the minutes available to him. So it's far less risky. And like I said, he's been playing really well. He's been really good shooting. He's got shooting boots on at the moment. So yeah, it's Martial, isn't it? Martial is the guy with the captaincy armband, and screw it, let's put vice captain on Jesus. We'll go for another striker. And yeah, that will be my team for this game week. It looks good, right, guys? I think it looks pretty good. I mean, if you have any other suggestions, please do let me know. I'm not going to be making any transfers until probably right to the last minute, just in case there's any other injuries that come up that I need to address. And because playing a bench boost, it's not like I can bring a player off the bench just to cover it for one game or whatever. There's no way I'm taking hits. It's too late to be taking hits. If you're taking hits, then you're either really in trouble with your squad and you really need to do something about it, or you're just playing super aggressively trying to push up the ranks. And honestly, I'll settle for just inside top 100k this year and then try and push on next year, to be honest, because my team does look really strong as it is, so I'm not too worried. So yes, there we go. There's the team for this week. Let me know what you think, if you would do anything slightly differently. Bench boost is going ahead, so you can't convince me out of that one. So that's the only thing set in stone. Captains I could potentially change. But yeah, also if you have any questions about your own teams, always post comments. I always read everything. I always reply to literally everything that you guys put in the comment section. And once again, subscribe if you're new around here. That would be pretty bloody awesome if you could do that and help push me towards 1,000 subscribers. And like the video, of course, if you did enjoy it, found it helpful in any sort of stretch of the imagination. So there you go. There is my video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the Game Week preview video, Game Week 37 preview video tomorrow. Hope to see you then, and I'll catch you later, mates. Bye-bye.